Hey, what's up guys? Devil Dog Gamer here and welcome to another Marine Corps Mondays. And you know, this Monday I want to talk about something a little special because a lot of you don't know I'm a smoker. And I'm a pretty hardcore smoker, like chain smoking, like 2 packs a day, $300 a month smoking. So recently I tried to quit and it became a complete failure, and this is like my 100 billionth time trying to quit. And what does this have to do with the Marine Corps, you're asking? Well, I didn't start smoking until I went into the Marine Corps. And it was one of those things is, you know, my parents smoked, both of them did, so I was, you know, wasn't a smoker when I was growing up in high school and everything, and, you know, I was super anti-smoking, and all it took was joining the Marines, and, you know, everybody and their mother's smoking, and, you know, everybody's dipping, and, you know, you're sitting around not doing anything, and next thing you know, you're smoking. And, you know, I just wanted to bring this cautionary tale along with some funny stories about smoking and dipping, you know, to you guys, because a lot of you are going to the Marines soon, and I'm sure a lot of you don't smoke, and you're going to be pressured into smoking and dipping. I can almost guarantee that's going to happen. So I decided we're going to talk about that today. So anyways, pretty much everybody in the Marines, except there's a select few that don't, but pretty much everybody smokes and dips, because it's a good way to pass time, you're constantly stressed out, yada yada yada. You know, it happens. So you're going to get pressured to smoke and, you know, dip, because everyone's going to be offering them to you when you're standing around doing a whole lot of nothing. So it's going to happen, and, you know, it's up to your best judgment to turn it down and bluff, you know, and tell them, you know, no thanks, whatever. You know, the peer pressure aspect of it. Pretty much the thing is about it is certain units kind of frown upon, I would say, tobacco use and everything. And my gunnery sergeant was kind of one of those guys. He didn't mind smoking, because smoking, you can, you know, only takes like 2 minutes, you smoke a cigarette, you're done. The thing about dipping is you can hold a dip in your lip for, you know, God knows how long, hours at end, and continue to dip. And he was one of those guys, like, you ever seen, what is it, Generation Kill? You know, Sergeant Major, Mr. Potato Head, you know, grooming standards? He was one of the, he's pretty much that guy. So, he decided that, you know, he didn't want to see anybody dipping when they were in uniform. Doesn't matter, you know, dress uniform or camis. Nobody's dipping whatsoever. If you're on working hours and you're in a uniform, you're not dipping. So we would always do our best to try to hide, you know, our dip from them. And God forbid you're the one who gets caught with dip in your mouth. So I learned this the hard way, because when I first got to the unit, I was already dipping, and everyone's like, hey, you know, Gunny doesn't like dipping, so if you see him coming, just spit it out real quick, as fast as you can, or he's gonna make you fucking eat it. And I thought they were joking around. Sure as shit, one of these days, fucking, I had my back turned, I was dipping, and I saw everybody pulling the dip out of their mouth, and I'm like, what? And they're like, Gunny's right, coming up behind us. And I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And they're like, it's too late, it's too late, it's too late. I'm like, what? So pretty much he was already on me. So I turn around and he's like, yeah, you're dipping, aren't you? I'm like, yes, Gunny. He's like, good, swallow it. I'm like, what? And he's like, swallow it. I'm like, okay. So I swallow it. Nastiest shit in the entire world. I don't know if any of you dip and have ever swallowed it at all. Like, your entire, oh, it's fucking terrible. And this should have been a kill. Retarded. But terrible. Fucked me up for like 2 days. Like, I couldn't fucking, you know, fucking take a normal shit for 2 days. Like, that's how bad it was. But we had a lot of boots that would come to the unit, and they got it worse, because he liked to fuck with the boots a little bit about it. Like, I wasn't really a boot when I got caught. You know, I was kind of good about hiding my stuff when Gunny was around. So it took him a few months before he finally caught me, and I had to swallow my dip. So we had a boot who did it, and apparently nobody told him that Gunny doesn't like dip in uniform. And so he's dipping. I guess he had the Copenhagen fine cut. Just had a brand new can, you know, took his first pinch out of it, fucking dipping away, and he started talking to Gunny, and, you know, pretty much addressing Gunny with the dip in his mouth. And Gunny lost his freaking mind. And he's like, I can't believe you're talking to me and dipping your mouth. He's like, what, you know, disrespectful fuck, like all this different shit. So he said, good. He said, swallow it. So the kid swallowed it. He's like, you got your can on you? He's like, yeah. He's like, pull it out. He's like, oh, look, a brand new one. He said, swallow that. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, take the can, dump it in your mouth, and swallow it. So he fucking takes the can, dumps it in his mouth, swallows it, takes a big old, like, you know, little gulp down. It's gone. It's all gone, and begins to vomit everywhere. Just completely puking everywhere. And he was fucked up for days. I mean, he was at the battalion aid station, you know, sick as hell, puking his brains out, shitting his brains out and everything. And he never dipped again after that, because I guess that just, like, it was one of those things, like, you know, your parents catch you smoking, they make you smoke your entire pack, like, back to back. It was one of those deals. He couldn't freaking, you know, even stand dipping after that. And that was one of those deals, you know, it happens, and, you know, crazy shit like that happens all the time. But, you know, when I first started smoking, it was in SOI, and they had a big deal about it where you weren't smoking when you were training, or, you know, on their time, you couldn't smoke or dip. So pretty much, like, the second you woke up, you're already cleaning the barracks and everything, so you're on their time, so you can't have that morning cigarette. So I used to go up, and we had, like, it was 3-level staircases. I used to go up on the top with a broom, and I would just sit up there and smoke like 2 or 3 cigarettes real quick, and, you know, get my cigarettes in for the next few hours and stuff. And you know, after that, I would just try to sneak them wherever I could. And I probably talked about it before, where I would hide them in the porta potties when we go out to the field and everything, and everybody's kind of known for it. Well, I also used to sell cigarettes when we were out in the field, because I learned quickly that when guys are out in the weekend party hardy, you know, they're not really thinking about picking up cigarettes for the week, because you ain't going to get a chance to go out there during the week. So what I would do is I'd go out and buy a carton for myself, and I would buy 2 or 3 cartons to take to the field with me and sell them. So usually I'd have most of my customers Monday morning, when everybody realized, oh shit, I do not have enough cigarettes for the field. So they'd come in, I'd charge them all, you know, $5 a pack, and this is back when packs were like $2.50 on base. So I was making like $2.50 a pack. So I charge them $5, you know, they come in, get like 2 or 3 packs, and, you know, they try to space it out for the week with them and everything. And I would actually take the cartons and smuggle them out into the field. And what I used to do is I used to take my MRE wrappers, and I would take the MREs out of the wrappers and put them in, like, I had a little container that I would put them in, put them in my pack. Well, I'd take the MRE wrappers and actually stick my cigarettes in there and tape them up real quick. So it looked like they were MREs, but they were really just full of cigarettes. So when we were out in the field, everybody would bring their wallet out in the field and cell phone and everything. So when I was out in the field, a lot of times guys would sit there and, you know, they wouldn't have cigarettes, so they'd be like, yo, come on, I need a pack. So I'd be selling them right there, you know, out of my tent and shit, out of the bivouac site. I'd be selling cigarettes. And I started making a lot of money. Like, that was my stripper and, you know, booze money for the weekend and everything. So it became a pretty lucrative business. But I mean, you get to units and stuff, and, you know, different people react different ways to smoking. And SOI was one of them where, you know, it was kind of like, you know, you're on our time, you're not smoking. And I kind of fucked up with this juggernaut. I should have just gone around with a shield. But, you know, my unit, pretty much everybody but Gunny didn't give a shit. You know, they were mostly dipping and everything. But, you know, what's a sergeant gonna say when a Gunny comes walking up and starts fucking with his platoon and shit? So, you know, Gunny was always good about that. And, you know, the funny thing about smoking and dipping is I used to actually smoke and dip at the same time while doing PT in the morning, because sometimes I wouldn't get a chance to get, you know, my morning cigarette and everything. We'd just go straight to PT. So I'd throw a dip in my lip, and during formation I'd light up the cigarette as we're running. I would just turn around real quick, light it, and it'd be sitting there running, puffing away while I'm running and smoking a cigarette. And there was a lot of guys, we used to do that all the time, and a lot of people were like, oh, how can you smoke while running? It's pretty easy, you know. It's not like it's constricting your lungs that much. I mean, you're still breathing, but, you know, you're smoking a cigarette. And it actually used to give me like a little bit of a high, and I'd be able to run a lot faster and farther. And it was pretty nice. You know, I did it for one of my PT tests, and I got like another minute and a half faster than I normally do, because I had a cigarette while I was running. But, you know, stuff like that. You know, we always would try to, you know, figure out ways to smoke and everything. And, you know, the one thing that did kill me, though, was when we'd go out on patrols and everything, you can't really stop and just have a cigarette. So I was mainly, when I was in Iraq, I was mainly a dipper, because I would wake up and get the morning cigarette when I was out on patrol and everything. You can't really have, you know, don't have time to stop and, you know, light a cigarette. So I would just keep a dip in my lip the whole time. And, you know, that would sustain me for a while. But I mean, the Iraqi cigarettes, I don't know if anybody's ever, you know, asked about them or heard about it. The Iraqi cigarettes are like smoking burn tires. So if anybody ever offers you like a freaking Iraqi, I forget what they were called, but if anybody ever offers you an Iraqi cigarette, just say no. You know, just tell them no thanks, thanks but no thanks, because they are pretty bad, and, you know, and, you know, you can pretty much get cigarettes anywhere, but sometimes if you're stuck with those Iraqi cigarettes, it is no joke. So make sure you avoid smoking. It's bad. It's not fun. Alright guys, make sure you check out my DayZ videos, my series Survive. It's pretty awesome. And I think I went 50 to 8 this round. I'm going to be doing some more Let's Plays. You know, if you have an idea what game I should do a Let's Play for, leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and favorite. Alright guys, peace.